How was it that it took 3 years to put this CD together?
Because we started in September 1989, and by about November 89 we realised that things weren't going too well. Mainly logistical things like studios that we were being given weren't right. Mainly we hadn't any equipment, and we've been promised like money for equipment, blah blah blah. It never came through due to various financial upheavals within the record label, and so we went into sort of protection mode, which meant that we basically decided for our own peace of mind that we would only work on the music when we felt like it. And it was a kind of a, basically the choice was we could have rushed the album off, finished it by Christmas and had it out by March of 1990, but what would have happened was we wouldn't be able to stand by the record. And like 10 years from now, we could have said, we never had the right guitars and all this, but it's a weak excuse. In the end, all that people care about is whether the record's good, not why you didn't, whatever. Like it's of interest to people that it took a long time, but ultimately it's not as important as the content of the record. So we just took our time, and we only worked when we felt like it.
Mm-hmm.
And during the period during 1990, we didn't do an awful lot of work on the actual album as a whole, mainly because we were working on the Glider EP and the Tremolo EP. That's what we mostly worked on there.
The Glider and the what?
The Glider EP
mm-hmm.
and the Tremolo EP.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we mostly did then.
Okay. You say when you go into a protection mode, you wanted to just make the music you guys could be proud of.
Yeah, yeah, but what I mean by that is like sometimes when things are going badly, you find that you're not really thinking straight. So you just think, well, I could just do this and not feel like I've got my whole judgment, or you can just say I won't do it today and I'll do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going really badly. The studio's terrible. The people in the studio are terrible. I won't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why. We also happened to coincide making our album with a studio crisis in Britain. It's been a real crisis, especially amongst the mid-range studios, which is the studios we used. And so all in all, it was like quite a lot of bad atmosphere and things around the beginning of making the album. So we just decided we'll make it in our own good time, and we'll stand by it that way. Mm-hmm. And we'll only record when things are going well. Mm-hmm. And because of that, there was huge gaps.
I see. Overall, you guys don't have you're not very prolific. You sort of take your time and make what you want to make. And maybe that's what holds you back, I guess, schedule-wise.
Yeah,
that's always been the case, right?
Well, sort of, yeah. I mean, we could easily appear prolific if we wanted to, but just by not putting a lot of work into EPs, we could have had like. If we wanted to, we could have had like 2 albums out during this period, because as far as we're concerned, the quality of the music on our EPs is generally speaking like it really stands up for itself a lot more than like a lot of bands. They release 12-inch records, but it's only one good song, 3 like a live version of a song and an acoustic version, and it isn't like 3-4 whole songs. It's not 4 whole songs. It's become a trend now, but I think, it's not so much for me to say, but I think of that with our EPs, most people who like the band generally find that they find the quality of the EP it's whole. It's not an inferior product. It's the 2 like the Tremolo EP and the Glider EP all that material together, bar the 2 songs that are on the album, are just as strong as anything on the album. It's not an inferior medium.
I see, yeah.
And so in a way, for us, as far as we're concerned, we've put out lots of music,
Yeah.
whether it be in the kind of tradition, or the way it's generally perceived. Albums is the release, and everything else is a side issue. For us, an EP is an important release.
I see.
So as far as we're concerned, we've released 3 records in the past.
So a lot of other pop acts will put out a new record a year. That seems to be kind of almost the norm.
Does your lack of output in that respect hold you back, like financially, as
Yeah.
a place of burden on it?
Extremely. Because we're like, I mean, if we would just thought about it from the money point of view, it's quite suicidal the way we work, because the large recording budgets and the huge gaps between releases mean that basically there's no income coming into the band. And ideally we would like to be able to put records out more frequently, and the only way we can possibly do that is to basically control our situation, in the sense that we're not ever put in a situation again where we feel like we're trying to make a record under terrible circumstances. I mean, for us the plan is to actually build our own studio, and with that kind of environment we should be able to work faster. You know, that's the idea, that's the plan.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, the way we've worked in the past 3 years it's been kind of painful, really, to tell the truth, and it's been quite, not in a kind of like, oh, we feel sorry for ourselves sort of way, just in a sort of, it did take a lot of kind of like determination to not stray off the idea and go, oh, what the hell, I've been sick of doing this album for so long, I'm just going to finish it and get it out, and you know, to always constantly just kind of go, yes, but you know, you have to be true to the songs, to the original ideas, because when I think of, see, what happens with the songs is that they kind of, because I don't really think in musical terms very much, so it's mostly just a kind of a textured picture thing, not really colour either, just a thing where parts in the music have they've got their own place, and like when a song, the bare bones of a song is there, I've all kind of mental picture of other parts, and if I'm recording and I feel like I'm tired, but if I still have the other parts not filled in, or haven't tried to attempt to fill them in, I can't let that down. I can't kind of let the song down by doing that, and that can be a bit difficult sometimes, and that's why sometimes I wouldn't do anything for 3 to 4 days on end, go into the studio each day and my brain wouldn't work, so I refuse to just put down any old rubbish instead. I mean, it's totally unbusinesslike, unfortunately, you know, for us and creation, but the end result is that at least we can stick by what we've done. That's the important thing.
So I guess you would think of yourself more as a creator of art as opposed to like a pop musician then?
Well, kind of, not really, because it's more of a kind of, maybe it's an obsessive sort of determination thing. Like I do feel more like we're creating pop music as opposed to art, really, but it's expressive. I feel it is pop music, personally, for me. If it was just art and it was purely just for expression, it would be probably different, you know. But it's blurred. It's completely blurred. I'm thinking in terms of pop, but it's free. We've got the complete freedom to do anything within that area. Now some people, but to think of it just as art would be wrong, because I mean, the fact that we exist, a band who plays guitars and drums and stuff in this day and age, it's kind of an anachronism, and why we do what we do is for reasons that probably won't exist in 10 years' time. We're from another era in a sense, you know. I grew up in this sort of 70s, and that's something that, well, why we're doing what we're doing is unclear, really, you know, but we like it, and we see it like pop music, but we can't. I can think of things, you know. I can think of ideas to do, and it seems a shame just to waste potential to sort of think, you know, if you think of an idea to just like, oh well, you shouldn't do it because it's not pop, or it's not commercial, or it'll confuse people.
He saw your show the other night at the club Cheetah in Kawasaki, and whereas your stuff on vinyl was a lot more melodious, you felt that the presentation live was a bit more on the noisy side, almost shockingly so. 質問の後半はなんだっけ？
いや、いつもああいうのを展開してるのかっていうのと、でまあ、
Is that usually the case with you guys live, and why would you consciously sort of defy the melodious nature of the music originally?
The melodies are still there, they're just harder to sort of comprehend. But the main thing is the live environment, especially